Hi there, welcome to Jimmy's Records and Tapes. This week we're talking about my 5 favorite albums that turned out to be a surprise.
We've got it on vinyl, CD and cassette.
We've got pop, rock, heavy metal, punk, funk, rap, and new wave. All sales are final, but you'll never regret all the music you get at Jimmy's Records and Tapes.
I'm loving music again. Hey there, welcome to Surprise! Surprise! That's fun, as if we're doing a surprise party and I was hiding behind a couch and then we scare the hell out of somebody when they show up. The guy's just coming home from work. He just had a hard day at work, but you decided that a surprise party was the best way to handle his 50th birthday. And he comes home, briefcase in hand, just wants to sit down and have his Bud Light, man, and here you go, yelling surprise from the back of an ottoman, right? How small are you? You're hiding behind an ottoman, by the way. If you're behind the ottoman, my guess is he saw your feet. That's my guess. And he walked in and he went, oh, great, surprise party. And then dropped his briefcase and went, oh, you gotta be kidding me. But inside he's going, why? I just want to sit down and have my beer and watch the ball game. Why is this happening? Also a question we'll be asking about midway through this episode. Why is this happening? These are surprises. These are albums that I did not expect to be good that were like, hey, surprise, pretty good album. So here we go. Let's start out. Number 5 is Tiffany, Hold an Old Friend's Hand. This was her second album, came out in 1988, went to number 17. Certainly did not achieve what her first album did. That thing was everywhere, and she was at the top of the chart with it. We know that, certainly with all the covers that she did on that thing, and also what that song could have been, which I think is a pretty good song. This album had the number 6 hit, All This Time. All this time, dee-dee-dee-dee-dee. That's my Tiffany impression, along with some keyboards. I am the Michael Winslow of 80s music. Here's the thing. I love the title track, Hold an Old Friend's Hand. It was actually originally done by Brenda Peterson, and then in 1974, Rita Coolidge did it. The great Rita Coolidge, who spent some time at Chris Christopherson and that gorgeous mane of hair he has, and that beard. Boy, does he rock that beard and hair. Just like Barry Gibb. The two of them really rock that look. Not unlike when the Clash rocked the Casbah. Those guys rocked that look. So did Bo Derek. Remember John Derek? That was Bo's husband for a time. He rocked that look too. Kenny Loggins tried, but those three guys really rocked that look. Here's the deal. I listened back to this. When I made this list, I was listening to 80s on 8 on Sirius XM, and they played All This Time by Tiffany, and I went, hey, you know what? That was a pretty good album. I remember that. I'm gonna do a whole episode about albums that were a surprise. And then when I made the list, I went back and I listened to this album, and it's not great. It's not the surprise. You know what the surprise was? Is that I thought it was good at one point. It's okay. It's fine. There's a couple of good songs on there. Drop the Bomb is catchy. Walk Away While You Can is pretty catchy. But it's okay. You know, and honestly, I only heard it because I worked for MCA Records at the time. As a reminder, I kissed Tiffany on the cheek, and she kissed me on the other cheek. Hollywood style. It's a fine album. Number 5, Tiffany, Hold an Old Friend's Hand. Am I saying go and listen to it? I am not. Number 4. Now, this is kind of a twofer surprise. The number 1 surprise is it went to number 1 in the UK, and the album's called 50, and it's by Rick Astley. In 1991, was on the road as a standing-up comedian, and I would buy, as I've said before on many episodes of Jimmy's Records and Tapes, I would go to the record store and I would buy any tape of an artist I knew because I needed to kill so much time in the car listening to music. And Rick Astley released an album called Free, which is just phenomenal. He didn't use stock Aikman Waterman, you know, who did all of his hits in the 80s with that dance mix stuff. He wrote the tunes. It's a little darker, and there's some really cry for help is all. Oh, man, what a great song. He's got a great voice. You can't deny it. I know he's a punchline to a lot of people with the Rick Roll stuff, but Rick Astley is terrific. I saw him in concert once, and I will see him again. He closes out with Highway to Hell. He plays the drums and sings and does an AC/DC cover. You want to tell me Rick Astley is a one-note pony? That's not a phrase, but I've just started it. This song's got some great albums on it. This Old House, great song. Angels on My Side, Keep Singing. I do recommend this album. I think it's a good album. Rick Astley, 50, comes in at number 4. Albums that surprised me. Also, check out that Free album from 1991. That's 4A in the list. Number 3, and I'm with you, I can't believe this makes the list either. John Elephante's Revolution of Mind came out in 2010. You might remember him with his, he had a stint in Kansas when Steve Walsh left for a little bit. He was on the Vinyl Confessions and Drastic Measures albums. Play the Game, Fight Fire with Fire. Play the game tonight. He's got a great voice, John Elephante. I did not know Kansas was Christian rock, and then John Elephante basically lived in the world of Christian rock, which there's some good music over there. You know, and then you listen to it, and then they go, then Jesus said, nope. You turn it off. Elephante also shows up on the St. Elmo's Fire soundtrack. He and his brother Dino just performed on there just simply as Elephante, and they do a song called Young and Innocent, which I think is great. In fact, side one of that whole St. Elmo's Fire soundtrack is terrific. He then went on to, again, he had a Christian rock solo career, as well as he formed a band called Mastodon. Not the Mastodon that you metalheads like, a completely different band. Not as heavy and a lot more Jesus-y. But I kind of like it because they're kind of good classic rock sounding tunes. He also produced Petra, which was a Christian rock band. They had a song called Judas's Kiss. And because I'm not as familiar with the Bible, even though I love JC Superstar, it took me years to figure out that the song Judas's Kiss was about Judas kissing Jesus when he betrayed him. And I thought it was an homage to Judas Priest and Kiss. And I would listen to it and go, this doesn't make any sense at all. Because it's not about what you think it is, because you're the dumbest man alive. Number 3, John Elephante, Revolution of Mind. It's a pretty good album. You should actually, if you like classic rock sounding tunes, check out this album. It's pretty good. Number 2, The Lead and How to Swing It. From 1994, Tom Jones. Pardon me, Sir Tom Jones. At this point, by the way, he had 40 albums. This was either number 40 or number 41. Again, I didn't dive deep, and I lost track when I was counting because I got distracted by anything. If I only knew, as you know, I'm famous for the rap on this. Up north where the snow grows colder, I traveled onwards, crossed the border, I looked up a girl that I once knew frozen, I knew that I was chosen. All right, we get the gist. Anyway, I know it, I know the rap, I know that, I know Wham rap. That's where my knowledge of rap ends. And Walk This Way by Run DMC, which is basically just an Aerosmith song with them rapping over it. The thing is, this album's good. He does a cover of Situation, the great Yaz tune. I saw Tom Jones in concert several times. I probably up to upwards of 20 times now. The first time I ever saw him was at Ravinia, which I believe I spoke about before on the Jimmy's Records and Tapes, where Graham Elwood and I went with our then girlfriends. I was there with Jennifer One, and we were going to go to the White Sox game, and then we said, at the last minute, Graham said in his tank top, hey, why don't we go see Tom Jones at Ravinia? And I said, that sounds like a great idea. And so we went, and they let him in with the tank top. And we enjoyed it, and we enjoyed it so much, Graham said, shooter, let's go to the front of the stage. And we got up, and we ran to the front of the, tried to go to the front of the stage, and got clotheslined on our way. And again, if I told you that story before, I apologize, but it's a great story, and it's a great image, and I hope you enjoyed it a second time. Coming in at number 2, The Lead and How to Swing It. By the way, we then found out that the White Sox game, the White Sox scored about 4,000 runs that night. And we're like, oh boy, we missed a heck of a game as we were putting Ben Gay on the bruises we got from getting clotheslined by security. Tom Jones and The Lead and How to Swing It at number 2. And number 1, a band that I somewhat liked in the 80s and into the 90s. In 2012, released an album called Beautiful Friction, The Fixx, 2 X's, double X. I don't think that's not a strip joint. This is the Fixx. Their song, maybe you go back and revisit the albums from the 80s, and Reach the Beach is a great album. That's flawless. They've got some great albums, and they're certainly worth sussing out. Kind of got lost in the 80s shuffle, but they rose above that, in my opinion. Here in hindsight 2020, great songs on Beautiful Friction, Follow That Cab, Shaman, anyone else. Great tunes. Cy Kernan, I think is how you pronounce his name. Great vocalist. Great live band. Coming in at number 1, The Fixx, Beautiful Friction from 2012. Hey, it's time for this episode's Jimmy's Choice. You know the drill. You can email me at fanclub@jimmypardo.com. You can hashtag Jimmy's Choice on Blue Sky. You give me 2 bands, 2 artists, 2 concepts, and they in my head in the moment, I decide which of those 2 get to move forward to the finals. Spoiler, there are no finals. Just deciding between 2. This week it comes from Michael Genrich. Mike, I apologize first of all, I apologize for calling you Mike. I don't know if you allow that. So Michael, I don't know if it's Genrich or Genrich. If I'm wrong, it's still on you. You should, when you send an email, you should say, oh, and this is how you pronounce my name. So this is 100% on you, Genrich, whichever one it is. This is kind of an interesting one. Mike wants me to decide between mid-'80s Duran Duran and mid-'80s Def Leppard. And I get it, because they both were huge at the time. And very specifically, they were huge with little girls. The girls loved both of them. They loved the way that Joe Elliott looked. They loved the way that the folks from Duran Duran looked. Oh, you couldn't. There's not a clunker of the bunch in that Duran Duran. Over in Def Leppard, it was like, you know what, Joe Elliott, and we're good. But with Duran Duran, those guys are all pretty. So much so that I took a picture of Simon Le Bon to a hairstylist and said, I would like my hair to look like that. And she's like, well, you don't have the same hairline or anything. That can't happen. I said, get as close as you can. And I came out looking like Brian Setzer from the Stray Cats. And you know what? It still worked, man. It still worked. I looked great. I looked 80s. I had my parachute pants and my Stray Cats hair. I'm the hero. I'm deciding between Def Leppard and Duran Duran. Here's the thing. Def Leppard's got Photograph, great song. Bringing On the Heartache, great song. Pour Some Sugar on Me, horrible song. In my opinion, others love it. Duran Duran, I think they're all kind of great. Reflex, well, boys, right? Union of the Snake, great stuff by Duran Duran. And again, easy on the eyes, these fellas. So if I have to make a decision, and I'm being forced to, Duran Duran versus Def Leppard, mid-'80s, I'm going to go with Duran Duran. That, my friends, is this episode of Jimmy's Records and Tapes. If you liked it, hit the subscribe button, ring that bell, tell your friends about it, get some more eyeballs on this thing, baby. Don't know what character that was. Don't know what character that was, saying what character that was. Boy, that was 3 deep on characters. Kind of got a little Southern guy there. I don't know what character that was. We got a playlist over on Spotify. So just look up Jimmy's Records and Tapes over there, and you get to enjoy these fine tunes I just spoke about. Or you won't enjoy them. Your call. Again, these are my opinions. At jimmypardo.com on Blue Sky. And of course, I host the award-winning show, Never Not Funny. Until next time, the record is back in its sleeve.